coming up.
My portable corral was the first hydraulic portable corral ever. One person, no lifting, 10 minutes. I want it quality and I want it strong. I wanted it to be the best.
What I like the most about it is how easy it is to catch the cattle in it, sort them, and load them.
Learn how the Rawhide Portable Corral is making ranchers' lives easier, next on The American Rancher. I'm Pam Minnick, and welcome to The American Rancher. John McDonald of Abilene, Kansas, is the inventor of the Rawhide Portable Corral, a heavy-duty system in use on thousands of cattle ranches across North America. Built-in controls on the Rawhide make it easy for one person to be ready for cattle in about 10 minutes. The Rawhide Corral was created out of necessity 20 years ago. Back then, John provided the back-breaking service of setting up portable bucking chutes at televised pro rodeo and bull riding events.
I would set up portable pens behind the bucking chutes. And one night in Long Beach, California, we had a bullfight break out. The owner of the bull wanted the bull out of the pen. He was nowhere near a gate, so I unpinned a panel to let him out. And when I did it, I saw something. The panel folded back up against the next panel. And what I saw with that panel in post, the way the panel folded back up against the next one, gave me the idea for my pinning system that has been the Rawhide Portable Corral for the last 20 years. And so I went with it. I built myself a frame, put an axle on it, put my panels on there, folded my panels over the racks. We put hydraulics on it, but I was able then to have panels that would fold open from a frame and catch as many cattle as I needed to at the time without lifting a panel. Behind me here, I have one of the original designs of my Rawhide Portable Corral. No different than what Rawhide is today. You fold the panels up like a compass over the racks, you chain so everything stays compact. This was the beginnings of what Rawhide is today. I overbuilt and over-designed everything. If I overbuild it, the likelihood of something falling apart is less apt to happen. That's why we have the best built corral in the world. I've added all of this heavier material. This Schedule 80 down here at the bottom, I have this at the back end of the frame near the axle where it takes a lot of abuse from the bounce going down the highway. And the way I even gusset the spindle. Manufacturer doesn't even suggest that I do that. We have really nice welds because we have really good welders. And these guys take pride in what they're doing. But we've tried to set the standard because I don't want something just to fly through here just to get it out of here. I want it quality and I want it strong before we send it out. The supports on the gooseneck, the gussets on the gooseneck, the stabilizers on the start post, the collars, the way it pins together, the way I've capped the material to keep, hornets out of it, moisture, the sheeting on the gates to keep the cattle from kicking out, the chains that hold things from moving on all the panels and on the gates. I constantly was using it, so I was always putting it through the test. And I'd think about this, well, this might make it better, or that might make it better, or this might make it safer. If I was going to build it, I wanted it to be the best. I knew I had to overbuild it to see to it that it could withstand whatever it was going to see when it got out in the public.
Up next.
And then I even have now this new corral here that you can catch up to 700-800 head of cattle.
Rawhide Portable Corrals are making ranch work easier than ever. See what's new after the break here on The American Rancher. Welcome back to The American Rancher. Over the past 20 years, it's innovations developed by John McDonald that have led other manufacturers to copy Rawhide Portable Corrals. Innovation is what keeps Rawhide on top, and even after 20 years, his passion for improvements and excellence continues.
when I designed this corral initially. The first thing I wanted to do with my mainframe were some things that you could not do with the only portable corral that existed prior to mine. And that was to drive through the corral. If you were leading your cattle, instead of making a U-turn, going back through your cattle, and then they're following you out of the pen, I made my mainframe strong enough and the bow gates wide enough that I could exit the opposite end so that my cattle would follow me in. And then I needed multiple pins for sorting. I've also got it designed in a way that you can split those pins to where you have 4 pins, what I call stacked, elongated. So you can downsize your numbers the closer you get to the alley. Then there are times that people want to do a little bit of sorting, and instead of going to a trailer immediately or dumping the cattle, they want to keep the cattle caught, move them out of their way. So that's when we'll set the corral up in a 3-pin configuration like a clover. The other thing I did was I made it highway capable of driving the speed limit. And I knew that pulling it down the highway, I needed something that was going to pull well, and the trailer could be the anchor to hold the corral in place if the cattle, get a little hot and start bumping things around. But they were never going to take off with it because that main frame was on the ground as the anchor. And it being hydraulic, it was easy for me to take it from transport mode on its wheels, hydraulically with the reverse of the button, set the main frame on the ground, open up your panels. But then it was also solid to the ground. So that main frame has multiple uses. It's the racks, it's the trailer, it's the framework for the gates, it's the alley, and it's the anchor when the corral's sitting in the pasture. We've had the transport wheels all of these years like just another ag implement without fenders. Well, we had some customers in California inform us that they would get a ticket in California if they didn't have a fender on their trailers. So I developed a fender for the Rawhide, and what I've done to keep it safe for the animals is we've used a hard plastic fender that we've developed a skeleton of 1x2 material that runs underneath the fender and bolts to these braces on the top side. We have mounted a bracket with a vinyl nut to bolt this to, and with the vinyl nut you can get that tight then and it will stay tight. You don't have to worry about that vibrating loose going down the highway. When your transport wheels go up and down, the fender stays with it. So there's no need to take the fender off when you get to your location. The fender can stay with the corral forever. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years since I started Rawhide. And I listened to the cattle producers out there, and they would tell me, I'd like to have this, or I'd sure like to have a corral that could do this. And so as the 20 years have progressed, I've gone from this simple little corral here that was 2 pins that you could make a temporary alley with to what Rawhide is today, to a product that has a hydraulic adjustable alley with a head gate at the end of it, a built-in loading chute to load cattle into your semi. You can fold that corral into multiple pins to sort, work your cattle, and go from a standard to a super large. And then I even have now this new Rancho Deluxe that you can catch up to 700-800 head of cattle. So this corral here has 12 panels total, 6 on either side of the main frame. So this would be considered the standard of what we call the Rancho Deluxe. And we'll have the standard large and the super large, just like we do with the processor corral. So with the largest being the super large in the Rancho Deluxe, you're talking about having 16 18-footers on either side, or we'll have 12 on either side of 24-footers, depending on which corral you get in the Rancho Deluxe. So now with this, I've decided to revisit my old design, my original design. I still have the 3x3 construction that I've done since the beginning of the Rawhide Portable Corral, but I've done it double wall. So I can allow myself to have more room with our racks folding off of a double wall than with the length of the racks that you see here. Gives you an idea of how much equipment we're talking about when we fold the corral up onto the rack. These panels are still built out of 2-inch round 13 gauge, all coped and saddled for its strength. So we have the same weight per panel, we just have more of them on this system. And this system, we still have the 10-foot bow gate within the main frame. to drive your truck through like we've always done with the Rawhide, so you can lead your cattle into the corral. With the mainframe on this Rancho Deluxe being like the mainframe on the very first Rawhide, what we had was just a solid wall that served as the rack for the panels. But then I know there's always times that you might have cattle crowding over top of that and you're doing some sorting, you want to let something out or through. So I had the room that I could put a small gate at the back end of the mainframe that allows a guy to let a cattle or two through there, human access, or if you had a situation where something was on the opposite side and you wanted to let it through and out the gate quickly, you could do so. Just gives you another option of something you can use. The old style Rawhide was never too heavy for the axles and spindles that were in use at the time, so we didn't have a problem with using 2 wheels for processor. This corral weighs quite a little bit more than the Rawhide processor does. So for the first time, I've decided to put dual wheels on the back end. So just like on Rawhide, as we've always done, we have this third link here on the start panel. So you can move that panel from the opposite end of the system up, pin it to this location to create your 18-foot or 22-foot cut gate, whichever size of corral you happen to have. And that allows you a situation where you could have then, instead of 2 very large pins like you see here, you can have 3 pins stacked or 4 pins stacked if you want to do this exact same situation on the opposite side of the mainframe. It allows you to then downsize to a small enough pin that you can load your gooseneck trailer out, the 10-foot bow gates that we have on either side. And then you can do the same thing on the opposite side of the mainframe. So then you have a situation where you have 4 pins stacked if you do it on the opposite side. If you just do it on one side, you can have then 3 pins stacked, with your larger pins being on the outside and a little small pin being on the interior next to the frame where you can load out the 10-foot bow gate. Since we would have 6 to 8 panels per fold on this particular corral, we found that having that many panels strung out, you had panels that wanted to lean pretty bad when you were trying to fold it up and or open your corral. So what we've done is we've put this angled wheel situation on here with the wheels going opposite directions, so it looks somewhat like an irrigation pivot. So I've just recently invented this situation with these racks being designed to house the outside and the inside fold of all of your panels for transport. I've designed it to where you can fold the racks on the interior of this frame out of harm's way when you're working cattle and or when you're walking by. And they're mounted on a Schedule 80 2 3/8 frame. So it's heavy duty enough to handle the weight of the corral panels. So with this new design of rack, I've lost the spot where I had my man pass gates on it. So now we've made this frame wider, accommodates the racks, and it also accommodates our man pass gate. And I always tell people that you just have to see to it that you set this mainframe on ground that's decently level, 30 feet by 30 feet. As long as you've got a pad that's 30 by 30, which most people can find, then after that, my pinning system allows for the uneven terrain. You'll see on this collar here how it's starting to go towards the inside, and in the 60 inches of my end post, you see the bottom collar starting to come inside. So in that overlap, at the end of this panel at 18 feet, your panel can drop down into a hole 20 inches or so, and it will not cause a bind situation where this panel raises up off the ground, or opposite. So it will follow the uneven terrain as you roll the panels open. With the flexibility of the Rawhide Portable Corral pinning system, you'll notice when I can raise the back end of the mainframe off the ground, and you see the bow gate and the double wheel panel up in the air. You've set it up, you start to roll the corral open, and then you realize, shoot, I've got something over here at the end of my first fold that's holding me up. It's hard to roll this open. Instead of folding everything back up and moving your corral, just come up here and hit this button, and it works for either end, knowing that you might have something like that to roll over once you're trying to open it up. And then if you have the same thing happen on the front end of the corral, say on the gooseneck end of things, you just come up here, divert the oil with your selector valve to the front of the system, then you hit this button and you're doing the same thing. You can raise and lower the front end of the corral, and that takes the pressure off both of these sets the same way. You can just push the set with 2 fingers and get it out there to where you want it. Go back, hit this button, set the set on the ground, and go ahead and fold your system open.
After the break,
What I like the most about it is how easy it is to catch the cattle in it for this feature right here.
see how ranchers across North America are using their Rawhide Portable Corral. You're watching The American Rancher. Stay with us. Welcome back to The American Rancher. Rawhide is the original hydraulic portable corral. Thousands of ranchers across North America have benefited from its use over the years. And with the company's 20th anniversary, owner John McDonald recently gave owners the opportunity to show off their Rawhide Corral with one special goal in mind.
What we did with our 20th anniversary this year, I decided that I wanted to hear from those folks that had purchased a corral in the last 20 years, whether it be something as simple as this original corral that's behind me or the most recent. So we sent word out to all those that had ever purchased a Rawhide and asked for them to send testimonials and or videos of them using the product. So I had several to go through. I got down to a handful. We did a drawing, and the one that won got a brand new portable corral for being the winner. And it was a really interesting bunch of videos, and it was hard to choose. But the most important thing is that I saw it was really helping these people get their work done. And there's several different testimonials of how it saved their leg work and the way they work cattle. And they couldn't do it without it. And I really enjoy that.
My son and I have had this Rawhide for 9 years. We've caught cattle like this at least at 500 sets so far, and he's right, it only takes about 10 minutes to set it up. And what I like the most about it is how easy it is to catch the cattle in it for this feature right here. You can drive through it. You're not trying to push them into a closed pen like some of the other portable corrals. And once you get them in it, it is so easy to sort them and load them. Very, very transportable. And the only thing I've had to repair on it was an electric hookup got loose, and John and Mary did the whole thing for me. We're very patient, very good service, and they're very glad to have their product out with the ranchers. I would buy another one, but I'd rather win one.
The Rawhide Portable Corral is available in several time-saving configurations. The original tongue-pulled Rawhide comes in standard or large. The popular gooseneck processor and the new Rancho Deluxe are both available in standard, large, and super large configurations. Contact the folks at Rawhide to discuss which option might work best for your operation.
Then when you start adding options to the Rawhide processor, this particular corral has the built-in loading chute option to load a semi. This corral also has the hydraulic adjustable alley, but as most of those that do the hydraulic adjustable alley option will do the headgate option as well. And then you have a switch to hydraulic squeeze cattle that you might be catching. Another thing I've done on the headgate option on the built-in load and chute is I have designed a frame that allows to fold this headgate out of your way to load a semi without physically having to unattach and carry this heavy headgate. So it's just made in a way that you can do this and then back your semi up to the load and chute.
We warranty everything on our corral for 1 full year, but even for the life of the corral, we're here to help you. If there's a problem, if there's an issue, give us a call. We'll help you get it taken care of.
1-year warranties, those were the warranties that we were given on the things on the corral that I don't build. You know, I don't build the power unit, I don't build the rubber, and I don't build the hoses, and I don't build the battery or the solar panel. or the transport wheels. But after that, everything on the corral is my design, my idea, and I build it. I've got a product that should hold up to what takes place with the customers. And if something happens out of the ordinary, I've taken care of my customers regardless through the years. Something happens, we see to it, we get things fixed for them. Because of the success of Rawhide, I'm able now to have my own ranch and to have my own cow-calf operation, cow herd. And it's because of my customers that I'm able to have what I have now. So there's a little bit of every one of those guys I've talked to through the years out here on my ranch. There's a little bit of what I learned from them, because I've talked to up to 3 generations at a time about my product at trade shows, and I learned something from all of them. And I haven't been afraid to make changes on my corral based on ideas that customers have given me.
So my personal testimony is I love it when I see a Rawhide Portable Corral going down the road or set up in someone's pasture. And I know that the American Rancher played a little part in that success. Congratulations to John McDonald on 20 years. It was great seeing you in the arena at the bull riding events, and great to see your success with Rawhide Portable Corrals. That's all the time we have today. To learn more, visit rawhideportablecorral.com or call the number on your screen. And to find out more about us, visit theamericanrancher.com or connect with us on Facebook. I'm Pam Minnick. For our entire American Rancher team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.